The deacon of a church in Perry was sentenced to 22 years behind bars after being guilty of producing child pornography. 31-year-old Jonathan High of Steinhatchee was found guilty last October. The case started in August of 2021 after law enforcement got a cyber tip about child porn uploaded to a cloud server connected to High's account. Investigators found multiple child porn images and videos of young boys engaging in sexual acts. They found High produced these videos as well, since some of them were taken in the church bathroom where he served as a deacon.
The Buffalo priest is on permanent administrative leave tonight after sexual abuse allegations against him were verified by an independent review board. Abuse allegations against 6 other priests who have all passed away were also substantiated. The priest, Donald J. Lutz, has also been restricted from presenting himself as a priest and presiding over the public celebration of the sacraments. One other living priest was also accused, but allegations against him were not substantiated, so he will remain in active ministry.
Good evening once again. In just hours, power will be given back to survivors of sex abuse. The Child Victims Act takes effect at midnight.
It will be a day of reckoning for sexual predators as their victims are going to be empowered now to pursue legal action during a 1-year window. Dozens of priests and nuns within the Buffalo Catholic Diocese will be named in lawsuits that will be filed tomorrow. Now, the pictures outlined in red here are the never-before-named clergy abused, or rather accused of abuse. Among them is Father Gary Bagley, the former longtime director of youth ministry for the Catholic Church. Many of the clergy named have since died, although the 7 Eyewitness News I-team has learned that one of the dozens of lawsuits that will be filed against the diocese tomorrow accuses an active priest of sexually abusing a victim when he was 8 years old.
In all, attorneys across Western New York and the state are expected to file hundreds of civil cases overnight. Lawyers tell 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ed Riley it will be an emotional day that's come after decades of suffering.
I was a little kid, between 7 and 11. Molested, raped.
It's been a long time in the making, 40 years for me, how I was chosen as one of the 100 altar boys to go on a trip with the senior of my parish. You don't have a clue what we all went through.
Surrounded by several clergy sex abuse victims, attorney Steve Boyd and a representative from Jeff Anderson and Associates announced the 2 law firms will be filing 83 child sex abuse lawsuits against the Diocese of Buffalo and 30 against the Diocese of Rochester.
I know every priest is not a pedophile, but where are they? Their silence is only protecting the bishop and protecting everything that's going on.
A judge has now ruled the lawsuits can go forward with the victims' names kept confidential.
That's what today is all about, is all of these survivors across the entire state of New York getting their chance for justice.
The lawyers also revealed the names of 11 alleged clergy perpetrators that had not been previously disclosed, including Father Gary Bagley, the former director of youth ministry in the Diocese of Buffalo from 1986 until 2001.
To me, that says he was the director of an access operation. That's why Bagley was in youth operations, because that gave him access to these kids.
The New York City law firm of Weitz and Luxembourg also held a press conference saying it plans to file more than 100 sex abuse lawsuits in Erie County.
And we have clients as old as 93.
The firm will file its first 2 lawsuits on Wednesday against the Diocese of Buffalo. The first alleges that a principal at St. Francis High School in the 1970s abused a 16-year-old boy. The other alleges that a pastor at All Saints Church in Buffalo abused a 14-year-old female student from the parish's school in the 1960s.
Just because something happens when you're young doesn't mean that the effects go unnoticed.
Overturn his conviction for sexually assaulting 2 young girls.
Ken Pierce is live in News 8 Control with a preview of today's court hearing. Morning, Ken.
Good morning, Allie and Chris. You can sort of see this as a trend. A couple of weeks ago, Michael Skakel was in court arguing that his trial lawyer blew it, and that's why he was convicted of murder. Now it's Phil Giordano's turn to argue he's in federal prison because his lawyer did not do the right things. You may remember Giordano was convicted of getting a prostitute with whom he was involved
to get 2 little girls involved in what they were doing. Prosecutors said he used his power as mayor of Waterbury to make that happen. His appeal is based on the idea that it was all the prostitute's idea and that she had done something similar before, that the federal wiretap should have been challenged in the first trial, too. Today's hearing will be at the Bridgeport Federal Courthouse. Giordano will not be there. He is serving his 37-year sentence at a federal prison in Tucson, Arizona.
The case against Stephen Bates began back in 2016, according to police, when they received a tip from the website Skype that someone had uploaded child sex abuse images. The indictments detail graphic information about what was contained in those images. They include both still pictures and videos. Both the still pictures and videos allegedly featuring young female children, and in one case, a young male child. One also includes adult male genitalia. Bates was the former pastor at the Bible Baptist Church in Nashua. He was living at the parsonage until the church became aware of the charges and he was fired and kicked out. The congregation issuing a statement at the time saying, in part, the congregation strongly denounces the actions of Stephen Bates as ungodly, unholy, unnatural, perverted, and reprehensible. Even though the case goes back years, each of the indictments charges Bates with having the images in his possession on March 15th of this year when he was arrested. According to the case summary, Bates is scheduled to be arraigned and the lawyers and judge will discuss the case on November 2nd. Ray Brewer, WMUR News Now.